There are blatant red flags that I see early in a relationship where I encourage the partner to get out of this relationship. Things like abuse, things like manipulation, things like hurling insults, lack of impulse control. Those kinds of things, when I see them in a new relationship or one that's been going on, I really try to work on building up the other partner's self-esteem so they can eventually leave this relationship, because there is such a thing as being addicted to a relationship. The longer you're in it, the more you've settled down. You don't want the upheaval. You many times don't want the change. And you go, is this really bad? But a lot of things that you ask yourself, is this really bad? Or could I live a life like this? If you had someone in your corner, someone you could talk to, you would be able to gain the strength you need to get out of that relationship. Because if you're in a relationship that's not working, your partner is resistant to therapy, they're resistant to change, they like it the way it is, then in most cases, what you're dealing with is what it's going to be like. But even worse, once you're married to this person. As far as your mental health, I do have suggestions of things that I think you should not settle for or get too comfortable with in a relationship. When you identify these things when you're dating, you need to do a hard look at yourself. You need to reinvest in yourself instead of investing more into your partner or the relationship so that you can move on, or at least assess it more clearly, feeling stronger. And these are the things. The first one is if you're afraid of being alone. A fear of being alone is a terrible reason for your mental health to stay in a relationship. It actually compromises your self-growth, your mindset will be narrowed, and you won't get exposed to the challenges and the risks that you need to continue to grow in a healthy manner. Social pressure or any kind of expectation. If this is a person you feel like, oh, well, they fit the model for my parents, for other people, everybody's getting married and it's just time for me, my clock is ticking. Anytime you use an urgent thing like that or something that's happening in society and you start scaring yourself, you start telling yourself it's time, you've got to get going, there's going to be a desperateness. And then once you're in the situation where you're actually having a baby with this person, you're married, you won't be able to exit this marriage. Then you're in it for the long term. And if these things aren't settled up front, if you're not able to see that you're basically choosing a partner, choosing a lifestyle because you don't want to stand against societal norms, then that's really sad. That shows a very weak inner strength, and I would work on that. Any kind of guilt or obligation, if you feel guilted into it, or if your family makes you feel guilty, well, you're not going to find another person of this faith who matches this and matches this. If you feel guilty, or maybe you've been with this person for a long time and they've been through a lot of problems, or maybe you were sick in this relationship early on and this other partner nursed you, these are not reasons to stay with this person, especially if there's no love, if you lack the ability to work together, if you're not on the same page with family and values and other issues that are going to cause big problems, conflicts in your relationship, then either work on the relationship together or exit this type of relationship, because it will show up further down the line. If you're financially dependent, when you're financially dependent on a partner, basically you are leaning on them because you can't get your life together. Go back to school, learn how to manage money, get a job where you can make your own money. If you depend on them totally, the power will never be balanced in the family. And not only that, if the person you're with loses their job, you jeopardize yourself. You jeopardize the relationship. There needs to be two people who can stand on their own 2 feet before they end up in a relationship together in order for the balance to be consistent and work throughout the years, including when you have children. So leaning on someone instead of growing in the area of being a productive human being is a very bad thing to do for your mental health. You're going to end up feeling weaker. You're going to end up feeling incompetent. You're going to end up feeling needy. And basically, you're a drain on the relationship, and that will be reflected the longer you're with this person. If you feel like there's an unwillingness to confront issues, if you're with someone who likes sweeping problems under the rug, or the minute you bring up something that needs to be dealt with, they're like, oh my gosh, do we have to go back to this? Do we have to talk about this? Well, yes, we do. You have to have someone you can go deeper with, you can become more intimate with, and you can't do that with someone who likes keeping issues on the surface, or someone you have to hide the real issues from so they won't get upset. This is psychological manipulation. This is going to prevent you from being a true person. They won't know who you are. Different things will come up in the marriage and they'll say, I didn't know you were like that. Who are you? And that's a good question, because you've been an imposter. If you're with someone, either you are the person that sweeps things under the rug, or they are. It doesn't matter. It's not a good match for you. For your mental health, you need to exit this relationship. A low self-esteem. If you're with someone and you feel like you or they have a very low self-esteem and you're kind of with them to help hold them up, that is not two independent individuals coming together to work interdependent on each other and with each other. You both need to feel good about it. If you're with this person because you don't feel good about yourself and you feel like this is the best you can do, what a disservice for them, and what a true disservice for you, because instead of you putting in the investment and the time and the effort into becoming a stronger, more resilient, responsible person, you're putting it all on them. And when you do that, you're essentially saying, I give you all my power. So don't be surprised if they start getting very controlling and making all the rules in the house, because you've set it up. Your low self-esteem and your inability to work on it and put effort into yourself has caused this type of a pattern to happen. And believe me, it is a lifelong pattern, and it's really hard to get out of once you're married. So I would warn you now for your mental health. Start working on you, take classes so you can get stronger in yourself. And lastly, if you're sitting around hoping they'll change, when you're dating someone hoping the whole time they'll change, you are making a miscalculation that will backfire on you. If your life is about waiting for your partner to change, the effort is stalled. The relationship basically goes at a snail's pace. No one's putting in effort, no one's nurturing it. And in the event that you are, but they're not, then you have a lopsided relationship where one person begins feeling taken advantage of, resentful, and it doesn't work long term. Usually these marriages start crumbling, falling apart after 2 years of marriage. So before you ever go further with this person, what I would encourage you to do is to really look at yourself and see what you can change. If you're with someone hoping they'll change, you're obviously with the wrong person. And for your mental health, it's not good for you. You need to reinvest. You need to reparent the parts of you that are broken or hurting, and then you can move on. You'll be able to see this relationship for what it is. It's not a healthy relationship. It's lopsided, and you can do better. If this video is helpful for you, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much.